overnight. This is something that I prayed for night after
What's
night.
up, my
This is
virtual
something that
home? How are
I
you guys
wanted. So
doing?
everything that's
First of
happening
all, I just want to say, y'all, we got
is
a
because
whole call
this is
going
something
on
I wanted. So
where
there's a lot to it.
leaders in the
But as
pharmacy
I share my
business
story,
is sharing their
you'll
stories
see
and
why
letting you know
I'm so serious
how they were
about it.
able to
And
get
God don't
success,
play about me, and I don't play
how
about my daughter.
their
Right?
life has,
So
you
I
know,
always
been
want to make sure
impacted by
that
the
I'm giving
pharmacy
her the respect,
business opportunity.
that I'm
So I'm
walking
going
in
to plug you
integrity, have
guys
character and honor. Because
into the
someone
meeting,
who's seen someone of
and
her
I just
caliber,
want you
someone of her
to
stature,
just see
seeing
that
someone like
no
me
matter where you are in your
to
life
be able to
or in your
celebrate
journey,
me,
you'll be
to be
able
able to put
to
me in
grow
position
and succeed
to change
here
not
at
only my life,
Pharmacy, y'all.
but the
Pharmacy is a
legacy
beauty,
of my
wellness,
family, the
personal
legacy of
care
the
brand
Hollis family.
that we are a part of. And I'm not
So
going to
how did
sell
I
you
get
on
here?
pharmacy. I'm
I
going to
want to know.
let the
I'm
call
not
do
from
it.
Florida.
So I'm going to go
Originally,
ahead
I
and
was
get out the
born
way.
in
So what
Philadelphia,
I'm going to do is I'm going to
Pennsylvania.
share my screen. If y'all find
And
that y'all are interested in joining the
I have a
team
very,
and
very
y'all
good
want to be a
story.
part of the
And it's the
movement,
reason why I go
all you
so
have to do
hard
is go to the
because of
description,
things that
and
I
the
have been
link
through.
to the place where you need to join the team will be in the
My
description,
mom
y'all.
had me
So I have that for you. And yeah, let me go ahead
at the
and
age
share my screen
of
and
13.
get y'all where y'all need to be.
And I was born out of a rape situation. My mom was raped by an older gentleman, sister's baby
I'm
daddy.
going to get you guys into the call.
And so that already started out from the beginning. Because now my grandmother had to deal with two of her daughters sharing the same father of two kids. So I have a brother who was also my cousin. Brother said I thought he was my cousin. Come to find out, ended up being my brother.
Oh, this
So
stuff is
as
getting good
I
already.
grew up in Philadelphia, we left there when I was 3. I moved to Florida when I was 3 years old. Shout out to Sarasota, Florida. That's where I grew up at. My grandmother was a very hard worker. And being though my mom had me at a young age, my grandmother decided that she would raise me. My mom was out in the streets doing things, and my grandmother ended up sending her to a girls' home while she just told my mom, hey, you know what? I'm going to take her to Florida and I'm going to raise her. And
All right,
left my mom in Pennsylvania
let's
to
get
do
us
whatever.
in. So yeah,
Once
y'all,
my
I
mom
joined
was there,
Pharmacy
my mom was
August of
experiencing lots of different
2025,
things. She
and
went
it's
through
just
a
been
lot of
going amazing. To
hard
be honest,
times. She just left in
this feels
Philadelphia
like
while my
one of
grandmother
the
moved to
easiest
Florida with me.
businesses that I've
My
ever been a
grandmother
part
told
of.
me that she wanted me to have a
And
better
I do
life.
use that word lightly
And she
because
was
I
going
do
to
work
raise me differently
to make
than she had
to
raised all of
make
her
it happen
16
here
children.
in the business.
So
But
I
I
come
can
from
say
a
that
big
this
family.
opportunity is not hard at all.
As my grandmother was raising me
No,
up,
it's not a hard business. So
my mom was out on
if
drugs.
that's a question that you have, well, that's my answer.
She
It's
was
not a
addicted to
difficult
crack
business at all.
cocaine and alcohol. And I started having some type of resentment for her because I felt like she chose the streets instead of me, instead of raising me. Although my grandmother was providing me a great life, let's be real, who doesn't want to be raised by their mom and their dad? I didn't even know who my dad was until I was about 30. So all my life I was growing up, my grandmother used to tell me, I'm your mom, I'm your dad, I'm your grandmother, I'm your everything. Don't worry about
recording in progress.
Anybody else. So I had to start leaning on her. While my mom was out doing whatever she did, and while my dad was unknown. I used to always question my grandmother, well, why? Why my mom and dad didn't want to raise me? And she used to always try to have me think positive of it. And she just hid it from me at first that my mom was on drugs. And then once I found out, because I'm like, something's going on. Mom, I would have broken promises all the time. My mom would tell me, oh, I'll talk to her. She's in Philadelphia, I'm in Florida. She said, baby, I'm going to see something for Christmas. I'm going to see something for your birthday. And I'll be looking out at the mailman and I'm, saying, oh, I know. Oh, yeah, my grandmother used to tell me, don't look for it. don't look for it. Your mom is sick right now. And you're thinking, in the medical way. And so she just kept saying, I'm going to keep you while your mom gets herself together. So as time kept going, I kept on saying, well, when, my mom would call me on the phone, and I'm like, well, my grandmother said that I can come live with you when you get yourself together. When are you going to get yourself together? You told me that you was going to mail me something, and you did it. So as time going on, my grandmother ended up telling me, your mom is on drugs. She does crack cocaine, and, she's on out. So then I started getting mad. And so I remember one time I called my mom a crackhead. When she called me, I said, what, don't even call me no more because you a crackhead. And you don't, you tell me you're going to do something you don't do. You know what? One thing I want you to know is I want you to always respect your mother. I don't care what she is. She could be an alcohol, drug addict, or what. I want you to respect her all the time. And so at that moment, I started trying to, have a little respect for it. So as time grew on, once I became a teenager, my mom would come in and out my life back and forth to Philadelphia. And my mom and I, we would, be trying to be close. But I still would always be feeling some type of way because I'm like, you chose the streets and you didn't choose me. And my grandmother worked very hard to make sure that I would have everything that I needed. She had me in a lifestyle around a lot of wealthy people when I was younger. She had me in lots of different, things to keep me occupied, to keep my mind off my mom not raising me and my dad not being there for me. And while she was doing all that, she was working 2 to 3 jobs to make sure I had everything. I had family members in and out, cousins, uncle messing with me. So I had to deal with incest while my grandmother was working. So whenever my mom would come in the middle of the night and knock on my window, and I would be feeding her food out of the house, giving her food and things like that and so as time went on, my grandmother started telling her, you got to come in through the back door because she was so embarrassed about her church friends seeing how small my mom had gotten for being on drugs. And I just kept saying, I didn't care. I still wanted to go live with her. So my grandma kept telling her, I don't know how long it's going to be when she coming to get you. You about ready to be a teenager. She still ain't got herself together yet. And I'm not letting you go until. So fast forward, time goes on. And about around the time when I was 16, I'm so frustrated about everything. Having my cousins mess with me, having my grandfather mess with me, having my uncle mess with me, not knowing which one gonna come in, praying to God that one of them catch each other in the middle of the night, that God just did something. And when God didn't do anything, I said, you know what? I'm just gonna end my own life. I tried to commit suicide a couple times as a teenager because I felt like I didn't have an outlet. I didn't have anything. And my grandmother he took my grandmother away from me and moved her to Tampa and left me in the house. My grandmother he took my grandmother away from me and left in Sarasota. So my mom started coming over and left me in the house. I used to have, before I went to school, I was stealing my neighbor's water with the water hose and filling up garbage cans. Me and my mom fill up garbage cans for me to take a bath. Because I had to make sure I went to school and nobody would know what was going on. We were stealing electricity. My mom taught me how to steal. We would go to the store. She taught me how to steal steak and shrimp. And she would cook it on the grill outside in our house in the yard that my grandmother had left. So me and my mom started getting a little closer because I'm like, dang, my grandmother left me. And although my mom is on drugs, she's trying to do something for me as a mom. But then as time started going on, I started getting older. Once I transitioned to turn 18, I went following my grandmother. She moved to Tampa. And I went following her. and she was hooked up with some people that was doing some things. And all I know is I loved my grandmother. That was all I had to do. And so a lot of some illegal activities started going on. And I'm like, my grandmother got
Hi, Natasha.
doing lots of different things, like selling drugs. My grandmother, who was a Christian lady, raised me up in a Christian household, is now selling drugs. So I'm in with my grandmother, doing things that I, whatever we need to do, grandmother, I'm with you. I love you. I'm here with you. So doing those things ended up getting me in some trouble, right? I'm not, I'm being very transparent with y'all because I'm not this person that you see today. I had to go through some things first. And with all that happened, then once I transitioned my mom, she ended up coming. So now we all three of us in Tampa now. We all three in Tampa. We doing things. Of course, this right down my mom's alley. She was on drugs. So it got to the point that we had a full operation going. My grandmother was no longer praising God anymore. She was no longer, instilling those things. And I ended up getting set up. And because my grandmother and my mom wanted a future for me, always wanted me to go to college. My mom said, baby, I'm going to take the rap with you. I done been in trouble before. My mom took the rap from me and went to prison. So when she did that, I felt like I owed her. She had already had me at a young age and dropped out of school. I only had a 9th grade education. And now she's willing to put her whole life on the line for me so I can go to college and have a college education and have a better life. So she had already messed up her life. So when my mom got out of prison, I was taking care of her because I felt like I owed her that she was able to do that and allow me to go to college. And we were all starting to get close, me, my mom, and my grandmother, and then my grandmother passed away. My grandmother passed away, and boom, I felt like my whole life was over. So me and my mom ended up getting close again because that was all I had. At that point, my grandmother had left. My mom told me that she was ready to end her life because her mom was gone. And I told her, well, what about me? You still have me? I'm your only child. So I was my mom's reason to continue to fight. My mom was in and out of jail, in and out of rehabs. And I was just doing anything to hold on because I don't have any children. So I was, holding on to my mom. That's all I really had. And me and my mom, I got so point. I remember before my grandmother passed, my grandmother told me, you love your mom so much, you would let your mom bring you down. And that's what ended up happening. My mom's drug addiction was so bad that I was paying off drug dealers to keep her alive.
Oh my.
She would credit stuff off and don't pay the people, and they'd be ready to end her. And I didn't want to lose my mom. I'd already lost my grandmother, and that was all I had. So every time I'm paying off debts for her, I'm doing that. She's messing up her money. I'm paying her rent. I'm doing all this. And then I got to a point I had to give her